time that we're before, like, we pushed time so that we're actually before on time.
We're bending.
We're making up for previous shows.
Space-time. We were sitting here at 4:29, like, should we? Nah. Let's wait. But here we are.
4:30 happened, and we were like, nah. And then 4:31, we were like, now is the time!
Gonna be a good show this week.
Yeah.
Intel invests $1 billion to meet the ever-expanding 14-nanometer demand.
Amazon's anti-union video leaks. It was sent to some people at Whole Foods, which they now own.
Yes, and Apple's streaming services isn't going to have any sex, drugs, or rock and roll. Well, maybe rock and roll.
Yeah.
No violence, though, or other things that I like. Boo.
Tesla sued by the SEC. I thought it was Elon specifically. Is it Tesla?
I think it's got to be Tesla. I don't know. That was vague to me. I researched it, but it was vague still. Let's find out.
More at 11, also known as After the Intro.
Roll it. Paddle, 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 paddle. I try to keep you on your toes.
I never know what's gonna happen.
No one does.
Savage jerky.
Savage. Fresh bug.
Honey.
Honey, honey.
Do.
That's it. What's up, dude? How you doing?
It's pretty good.
How was your week?
This is pretty good. We launched a new payment system on Coldplay.com. That was wonderful.
So can I pay with any of the cryptocurrencies I own that are worth nothing?
Nope.
Well, how am I gonna explain this to my wife? I hawked the ring, dear. Ethereum's worth nothing.
Oh boy. Speaking of stuff that's worth something, Intel invested $1 billion to meet 14 nanometer demand. Bob Swain, Intel's CFO.
Wait, is it Swain?
Swain?
Oh,
Swan.
I thought you were in the know for a second.
No.
I also think that his name, Bob Swan, works really well as one word. With a the in the front. The Bob Swan. The Bob Swan was here.
I played League of Legends last night, and there was Swain.
Ah.
The
I
character.
thought you were going to say I was...
So I think I just put that together.
Bob Swan's in my guild.
Yeah, we lane together, bot lane, no big deal.
He's a healer.
Yeah, Bob Swain, Intel's CFO and interim CEO, because if you were watching the WAN show a while ago, their CEO left the company. Issued an open letter to the company's customers and partners today, addressing tight supply of their 14 nanometer stock. Basically, as my understanding of this is that as demand for core counts go up, because AMD's like, raw core count, and then Intel is trying to match that, you can only make so many wafers at a time in one factory.
Or per month.
Per month,
like your rate of output
your
wafers.
overall rate of wafers isn't really going to change unless you make your factory bigger.
Do you know much about these wafers? Like, they're like this big.
They're yay big. They're a circle. Linus has one upstairs, and you get a certain amount of cores per wafer. So when you want a CPU with bajillion cores on it, you're literally taking up more of the space on that wafer. So the more of these big i9s, and it's probably in the notes
and the
somewhere.
Xeon 28 cores.
Yeah,
it's like calculus. It's like how many, if you have smaller squares, they fit together more nicely, so you can put more of them on a chunk. But if they're larger dies, then they just don't nest as well, and you can get fewer on one wafer.
Yeah.
So if you can only do, random number, 1 million wafers a month, with the small cores you could do another random number, 10 billion cores. With the bigger ones you can only do 1 billion.
And they make more money off of those. So
of course, the higher margin
yeah.
enthusiast and enterprise grade chips are going to get a higher margin, more profit.
Yeah, so they're going to allocate more of their platter wafer space to those because they make more money off of those, which has resulted in, I don't know what I'm looking at because I don't actually see any of the notes here. I'm just going off of memory. But it's resulting in a tightening of stock on the low end. So parts,
in there's different process nodes. So within the 14 nanometer process node, they have different products or parts that are on that node. And since they're allocating as much 14 nanometer node space as they can to the high margin Core i9 and Xeon parts. Then the lower margin parts like i3, is it? Or the H?
I'm trying to find it.
The cheaper ones they make less money on. They're not allocating as much 14 nanometer space to those. So what they did, and this was news a couple weeks ago, is they made a completely new 22 nanometer process node that was cheaper.
H310C.
Yeah, so they had more production capacity for the low end. And so now what they're doing is investing an additional $1 billion. So I think for the year they had allocated like $4 billion already, but they're doing an additional $1 billion, which gets you to a total of a record $15 billion for the company in capital expenditures in 2018. And this billion is going to various fabs that they have in Oregon, Arizona, Israel, and Ireland, and each of those fabs are the 14 nanometer facilities. So I guess the stock price went up today like 3 to 5%, and as it went up, AMD's went down because it appears to be a zero-sum game, like a tug of war. Yeah. And the reason that Intel's went up is because I guess the Bob's one is assuring everybody that they are going to be able to meet demand for these high margin parts.
It's interesting. They're also saying that they're making progress on 10 nanometer, but especially with Intel, when they're shipping out so many CPUs, yields are incredibly important. I'm not saying yields aren't important with AMD. I don't know why my voice is weird right now. Don't worry about it. But with Intel, that's going to be a huge focus point for them. They also traditionally.
You just wake up? You were sleeping when I was talking. You're one of those.
Yeah, I had a nap.
I'm one of those.
Like, he's got it. The WAN show autopilot.
Yeah. There's just a fly buzzing around your mouth.
Last week it was some hair, right? So just gotta
getting everything.
Gotta step up. But yeah, that's going to be a huge point for them. Apparently, they expect volume production for 10 nanometer in 2019. We'll see how that goes. They are taking a customer first approach. Yeah, that's why they're focusing on their high profit CPUs. That makes sense.
Well, I mean, that's where the demand is, a lot of it as well, though. So
yeah, to be fair, because their customer, that's something to remember, I guess, with Intel, is their customer is not the traditional customer for most of the companies that you know of. Their customer includes a lot of enterprise stuff.
And the demand here, a lot of it is a large part of their problem is that the total addressable market, like the global demand, has gone up this year for the first time in like 4 years, or it's the first time since 2011 that the PC total addressable market increased. So they weren't really expecting that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, in the beginning of his letter, which you can find through the links, which maybe we should show.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you, Aluminium Tep. We're seeing a message here from Jake. He's got a piece of paper.
No drop frames.
He doesn't like our FPS.
Wow, dude. Why are you trying to upload at 15,000 kilobits per second? Okay.
Jake's piece of paper says message me on Hangouts, but he's actually just standing there.
Yeah, sorry. Jake showed up with a little paper. Apparently we're dropping a lot of frames. People are saying the lag is way too real. We're going to have a redo of last.
I'm not redoing. I will not. I'll just do the robot. You know.
How bad is it? Like, we should stop that?
Our FreeSync window is too narrow.
All right. I don't know if you can even hear this. You probably won't see it very well.
You're saying the audio will be fine. It's like the visual frames.
Okay. I thought the whole stream was choppy.
It's pretty bad.
But the audio's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
No FPS problems, just volume.
Hello?
Is it like we need to restart bad?